Say it in your strong, straight Polish man voice. Zdrowie.
There's no way we're not coming back from this without being 10 times bigger than when we left. But why, if German bakeries weren't so good and the potato salads, this wouldn't be happening. I mean, it's not my fault. It's not our fault at all. It's Germany's fault. You're loving it so much.
Sweating. Do I look like I'm having fun?
Yeah, of course you do. That's what you always look like, even when you're having fun.
Oh.
Possible to tell the difference.
My unfun face.
Ah, what's the difference?
There isn't.
Ah. No terrible tea making this morning, but we have lost one of the handles on one of our lovely mugs, which is such a shame. I think it just kind of clashed in the cupboard and came off. Very annoying, because these are perfect. Such a good size. We have got some Gorilla Glue, so we've contemplated gluing it back on, but then there's always the fear that you're holding it and the handle will just snap off while you've got a hot mug of tea or coffee or something, so I don't think we're going to do that. Morning, Stephanie.
Morning.
How you feeling?
I'm alright.
You were actually awake before me today. I woke up, my eyes pinged open, and you were sat up already. Which almost never happens.
Yeah. No, I slept alright. Yeah, I'm alright. Morning. I have nothing else to say, as usual.
It's just usual for me to wake up and almost stop bugging you to wake up, which I'm sure is very, very annoying, but
Yes.
I don't do it deliberately. So, Stephen cut my hair. This is the result. I tried to cut it myself because we're in Germany, so it was a case of, right, we need to find a barber's, and we could still do that. We managed when we were in Spain. I did it twice when we were there. But I don't know, something to do with where we were, and we wanted a shower, and it was like, do you know what, sod it, let's just get the clippers out and try it that way. So I just went around the sides and started like that, but then it was like, I don't know how to finish it. So Stephen kind of finished it off, and he went over the top and did things and tried to even it out a bit. It's not too bad, you know, it feels a bit weird. I've ended up with far less hair than I intended, but I've done it like this before, and you know what, when you're in a van, oh my god, it feels actually liberating not to get up, and then you don't have to comb your hair or do anything because it's short enough. I get quite self-conscious because I've got this mole on the back of my head. We won't show you the mole. I mean, we've all got moles, right? Everybody's got moles. But I've got this one. It's quite big at the back of my head. Anyone who knows me knows about it. Okay. So that's one of the reasons I've always not wanted my hair cut short. But I'm kind of just like, let's just get over it, move on. Who cares? It's just a bit of your body. I might even look into getting it taken off, but then I think, is that just a bit vain? But lots of people do. So really, is it that bad? Anyway, that's a whole other discussion for another day. The point is, Stephen cut my hair, and now it's short and entirely different. Stephen really likes it, so that's nice. He likes me. Yay. He's just rolling his eyes now. But the place we stayed last night, it has been so peaceful. It is just a little campsite in the middle of nowhere. So quiet. There's birds flying about. You're surrounded by fields. There's a couple of other vans here, but not too many. And there's quite a big space. We're parked on grass, which we were a bit worried about because it started raining, but it's not been too bad. So where have we been since we last saw you? Well, we left the Harz region and we've kind of travelled steadily further east into Germany. The rough plan is to go far to the furthest east point in Germany and then kind of travel down south into Bavaria and then along through the Black Forest region in the end, and then who knows where after that. That'll be kind of like the end of the trip, but we might have a few little side tracks along the way, possibly into other countries. We're not definitely sure on this yet. We are going somewhere today though that we're really looking forward to, and it's going to be quite unique, I hope, although it may not seem that way. But the reason it's unique is because it's a city that straddles two different countries. So we'll tell you more about that when we get there. So we're all packed up, ready to go. We've really caught the sun, haven't we? Just walk into the little village yesterday, come back and we're just bright red. You can't even see it properly in this camera, but maybe you'll see it later on when we're out and about. I don't know. Kind of hoping it doesn't pick it up too much, because it definitely does in real life.
This thing makes me think of Spain.
Why? What?
Tomate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when somebody called you a tomato.
Yeah.
Only because we were bright red.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway, we digress.
We do digress. Today we are off to the German city of Görlitz. I think that's how you say it. It's spelt like Gorlitz, but I think you pronounce it Görlitz, something like that. It's one of the most easterly points in Germany, and as I said earlier, it's a city that straddles two countries. So kind of half of it is Germany, half of it is Poland. So we get to go to Poland in a way. So let's see you in Görlitz.
Let's go. I'm melting.
Yeah, it's hot again.
See you there.
So we've arrived at our little place we're staying in. Where are we, Stephen? I'm testing you now.
We're in Görlitz.
Görlitz, that's how we think you say it. So as we were saying, this city straddles two countries. A river, the river Neisse, I think, separates it.
Sounds like a corner shop.
It does sound like a corner shop. Separates it down the middle. So you've got Poland one side and you've got Germany the other side. However, it's not quite what I said. So the German side is known as Görlitz, and the other side, which is kind of still the same city but it's called something different, is Zagorzelec. Is that how you say it?
I think that sounds about
Zagorzelec.
Zagorzelec.
Very similar to that, which is the Polish side. And this divide between the two has only really existed since the end of World War II, I think. So after World War II, of course, various borders were redrawn, and we ended up with two different sides and two nationalities separated by a river. But we'll learn a bit more about this as we go round, or when we come back to the van and tell you about it, because Stephen is just kind of eyeing me and like, we need to get out of here, it's boiling.
I'm going to kill him if you
Yeah, exactly. He's already had a go at me. So we'll go and have a look at this city. What I will say very, very quickly is it's one of the few cities that wasn't really bombed in World War II, so it's very well preserved, hence why it's quite popular for various reasons, which we'll go into later. Let's go. So one of the things that Görlitz is known for is the fact that most of its old buildings are very well preserved. Because it survived bombing in World War II, it was kind of spared. So many German buildings of the time remain intact, which a lot of towns obviously don't have. They had to rebuild. And these buildings have attracted interest not just from tourists and things like that, but also from Hollywood. So it's kind of also known as Girlywood because so many films have come here to be filmed, and some of those films are quite well known. So you've had Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds, that's been filmed here, and also the Grand Budapest Hotel, which you can actually go and see the building that it was filmed in. I forget the name of it, I'll write it down there. I'm not sure we're going to be allowed in today, but we might be able to see it from the outside. We love that film. I can't remember much about it now because it's been a few years, but we absolutely loved it, so it would be interesting to see the building it was filmed in. Still, despite this, I don't think it's an overly touristy place. I actually think, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, but it's, from my understanding, they would actually like more people to come to this city because it's often kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit, and it's become as well a little bit of like a retirement place. So people from Berlin have often retired here, and so much of the younger population has moved out. So I think they're kind of wanting people to either come back and live potentially, or just to come and visit it a bit more to kind of boost the city up. But also there are quite a lot of derelict buildings as well. I mean, you can see it as we're walking along. There are so many old, glorious buildings, but they've been kind of left in a state of ruin, and I think a lot of that was once the war ended and the border was put up and redrawn. A lot of the old towns, so many places in Germany, were rebuilt with modern buildings, and a lot of the old town here in Görlitz was kind of neglected, and so much has just fallen into decay. it might have been that had the wall not come down in 1989, that a lot of this would have not been preserved at all. So it's been a long process. Some of it has been rejuvenated, but you can see there's a long way to go. There's so many buildings that are really lovely to look at that are clearly need a little bit of TLC, and it just goes back years, all of this. So we've reached the river Nisa, is it, Stephen? So it's the river that separates Germany from Poland, so that is Poland. I think there's a couple of bridges you can cross. How strange. So as soon as we cross that bridge, which you can just walk over, we'll be in an entirely different country. So we've had a look around the German side, and in a minute we're going to walk over the bridge and have a look around the German side, the Polish side, which is Zagorzelec. Is that right? I think so. So we're on the German side of the river. Poland is just over there. We're going to have a beer on this side. I don't know what we just ordered. We really tried and then we got it wrong. So we kind of had to point at something. So we've ended up with something really quite dark and rich. I don't know what it is, but it tastes pretty good. So after we've had this, we're going to head over the river into Poland and get a beer there.
Aye.
Stephen's already learnt some Polish. Have you learnt beer?
Piwa.
That's the crucial word. That's all we need to know.
Aye. And please, proszę.
Yeah, and that as well. But this is nice. The rain's just started coming down, but other than that, it's turned out really nice. Like, we weren't too sure when we first got to the town, but the more we sort of walked into it, the more you could see how attractive it was. And there's loads we haven't seen. I'm not sure how much time we're going to get to see it all, but I think we've got a good feel for it, haven't we, so far on that side. Not sure how long we're going to be able to spend in the Polish side, but hopefully a little bit, just to see if it's any different.
Aye.
A bit of novelty. Anyway.
Cheers.
Beer time. I was going to say the German word, but it's just beer, isn't it? Cheers. So there's two bridges connecting Görlitz and Zagorzelec. This one's a road bridge, and the other one further down, which we're going to come to later, is just a footbridge, I think, or it's the other way around. I'm not sure. But it wasn't until 2007 that Poland joined the Schengen area that the border check-ins effectively stopped. So this little bridge we're on and the other one we're going to come to, if you wanted to walk between the two countries, you had to get your passport out and have it stamped and get it checked. A bit like if you go into Gibraltar from Spain, you have to walk through and get all your passports checked. So once upon a time, and not very long ago at all, you had to do that on this bridge, which seems weird now because everybody's just walking across like it doesn't matter.
We're in Poland.
We're in Poland, a few steps away.
Yeah, the other place. Can't remember the name now.
What do you mean the other place?
What's it called? We are in Zagorzelec in Poland.
A few metres away, we're now in a completely different country.
There?
Yeah, we were just over there by that very pretty church, in the bar, and now we're in Poland.
Having a Polish beer.
Having a Polish beer.
Having a bracky.
Is that Polish beer?
Don't know.
Well, either way, we're in Poland having a beer.
Cheers.
So we're in Zagorzelec. On this side, we're having a beer. Going to be honest, there wasn't masses to see this side, we don't think, or we didn't find it. We're not 100% sure. I think the majority of the things to see are on the Görlitz side of the river, the German side. So this side doesn't seem to have as much, but it might just be us, we weren't really sure. There were a couple of really nice buildings that we saw when we looked around, and they equally had just as many old, really lovely, like ancient buildings, the same as the other side, and some of them were in a state of disrepair, which is the other side as well, which was what we were talking about. But yeah, partly we're going to cut it short because our battery's running low, there's thunderstorms, and it's getting late, and we kind of need to get back to the van and do some shopping.
No.
But we're in Poland, we've got a beer, how nice.
Na zdrowie.
Zdrowie. What does that mean?
Cheers.
Oh, cheers. Na zdrowie.
Say it in your strong, straight Polish man voice. Na zdrowie.
Well, we've come back to the van. We're all settled down now. We're kind of parked in somewhere a little bit weird. We're kind of like on someone's driveway, hanging out onto the pavement. It's very strange. But there are other motorhomes here. You just kind of have to squeeze in. But it was €10 a night. That's with electric hookup, although there's no spaces left for us because we haven't got the right cord. There aren't toilets, but there is fresh water, and there's a way to get rid of your toilet waste and some other things. But yeah, it's a bit rough and ready, but generally for visiting Görlitz, it seems like a good option because you're not far from the town centre at all. And we did actually pass the building where they filmed the Grand Budapest Hotel, but we were looking at it like, we don't recognise this. Like, what is this? Like, it actually looked a bit terrifying. It looked like one of those old asylums, like really looming upwards ominously with this kind of like brutalist almost looking exterior. Yet it had some kind of like statue artwork on the outside. It was just a little bit scary, but it was actually filmed inside the building. I don't think the exterior was used, so that's when you can get a tour on certain days of the year. I don't think it's very common, but the exterior you would have no idea, because that was like, what the hell was that? If you've ever seen the film House on Haunted Hill, I'm sure it kind of reminded me of that asylum there. Do you know what I mean, Stephen?
Yeah.
It was just like, oh god, this is actually quite scary. So yeah, it doesn't really give you any idea, but we did pass something that showed some of the different films that they have filmed in Görlitz. And there's one other fact about Görlitz that was quite interesting. So since 1995, there has been a mystery benefactor that has given the town the equivalent of something like €500,000 every year until 2017, when they received notification that this donation would actually stop. We don't know why. Maybe the person passed away, perhaps, but that's like 22 years of this regular donation, which they've used to try and turn the city round and upgrade some of the buildings, etc. But now it doesn't exist, and still to this day nobody knows who this mystery benefactor is. So that's quite interesting.
Aye.
Does anyone want to be a mystery benefactor to us? I'd like one of them, would you?
Yeah, I'll have €500,000.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, it's very hot. It is absolutely stifling. It feels like the tropics. Everything is so muggy at the moment, and it feels like thunderstorms are looming again, but it's just unbearable. So we're just going to settle down. We've tried to open things, not right now, but I'm going to open this after we stop filming. But nothing's flowing through. There is no air flowing at all. It's unbelievable. And this is spring, but this feels like the middle of the hottest summer already. Really strange. I don't know if it's normal for here, but it seems very unusual, and it's very uncomfortable.
Aye.
But with that, we're going to settle down for the evening, and then we're going to figure out what the hell we're going to do tomorrow, because I'm not sure we're entirely sure, except get some gas because we're nearly out.
Aye.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
It's not even 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're up setting up the bed, something Stephen never does at this time. But because we've run out of gas and can't have a cup of tea, he's motivated suddenly.
Yeah. I'm awake and I can't. It's the bites keep waking me up.
And he's been bitten to death. It's looking like a very grim day out there. It's very overcast and drizzly, but we're going to press on. First job is to find LPG gas, which we've completely run out of. So hopefully it's not going to be too hard here. We're not sure. We've got a couple of options in mind, so let's see how it pans out. This can often be a bit of a wild goose chase, certainly back home. And then we're going to go somewhere very, very different. So we're looking forward to this, hoping the weather doesn't rain all day, because we're going to go to something that's kind of like a mix of nature and man-made stuff. So we'll tell you more later. Well, a few minutes later, we're all packed up, ready to go. Look at us early birds up and ready like the crack of dawn.
Still got bed hair.
I've got no bed hair anymore. You cut it all off.
I know. I'd cut mine off as well. I need a cup of tea. So that's motivating me to move.
Maybe this should always be a thing, like to get you to go to places. We'll just like deprive you of the tea and coffee.
Aye, probably.
So remarkably, we found LPG right round the corner from where we were staying. I can't actually believe it. So we looked online. Often that's completely unreliable, but this time it panned out. So we got that. The tank's full up. Thank you, Gurlitz. We are very, very grateful for that. That was very handy. Right, we stopped in a little service station. The gas works. Was a bit concerned about that because it filled up so quickly, almost like I just didn't believe it was happening. It feels like it takes longer back home when you do it. So that's a relief. And I know the kettle's in a bit of a worse for wear state and seen better days, but it functions perfectly well. To be fair, most of it's just where the paintwork's come off. We do wipe it down. But as Stephen said to me, what would we even do with it? Does it go in the bin? I was about to call her she then. I don't know why we'd call it she. Anyway, does it go in the bin? No, we're not going to do that. You could probably recycle it. But the fact is, it still functions perfectly well. So what's the point of getting rid of it? Do you need a kettle to be pretty? I mean, if the attractiveness of a kettle was important to us, I think we'd be questioning our very existence in life right now. Because in a van, there are far greater things to worry about than whether the kettle looks good enough to go on a night out. Like that, for example. Which we still haven't dealt with. So while we're sitting here having a hot drink in a lay-by somewhere, just to sum up Gurlitz very quickly, Stephen wasn't massively impressed, but to be fair, what's new? There's nothing unusual to see here, so everything's as normal. It wasn't amazing or spectacular, I thought, but it's definitely somewhere still worth visiting, especially, as I said before, if you want to see a town in Germany that's got all of these buildings that date back centuries that have been well preserved because it wasn't bombed during World War II. Well, it was, but it only lost some of its bridges. So for that, it's definitely worth it because it's quite a unique place. Obviously, you've got the uniqueness of being able to walk over the bridge into Poland, so that's kind of fun. We did kind of think they could have made a bit more of a big deal of that, though. Like, it was very low key. There wasn't as many things around that point as you might think. So, you know, maybe that's what they want. I don't know. But it just felt very kind of like, oh, okay. You wouldn't even know you were walking into another country, basically. I don't even recall there being a sign saying Poland. But yeah, anyway, somewhere a bit different, so I would check it out, but you only need a day really in Gurlitz to kind of get a good feel for it. It's not looking good, is it, Stephen?
It's not. I was absolutely hammering it down. So we decided to sack it off for today, and we're just going to sit here. Dan's going to be chained to his desk to get the next video out.
Get the manacles out.
As it should be.
Yeah.
And I will sit and eat, and Dan can work. As it should be. And that's it, really. That's what we're going to do, and that's the flexibility, isn't it? We get to just sack it off and say, no, we'll try again tomorrow. So yeah, that's it from me, I'm afraid.
Well, we found a free little air not far from where we were driving. It's got electric, and it seems it's pretty basic, but it's got everything you need. There's a town, there's a supermarket, there's toilets, which is wonderful. The electric, you put like euro coins in, but otherwise everything's pretty much free. This, as Stephen was saying, this is the great thing about being flexible. Like, if this was your one holiday of the year and it was raining, it's like you'd either have to press on anyway or it'll be ruined, you know. But travelling around in a van or being in a van full time, it does usually at least mean that if you can't do something one day because of the weather, you've got a bit more room to say, actually, tomorrow looks dry, we'll do that, because without losing anything. Because what we're planning to do today, I would have done tomorrow. We've just switched it around instead. Yeah. So it'll be all right. Hopefully tomorrow is dry and we can get to crack on a bit. But that's it. We're just going to settle down, and there's nothing else to say for today, probably.
No, right, let's get the electric on and get some food.
I say there's nothing else to say. I'm sure the camera will come out again, but...
Aye.
So Stephen's just made us this for breakfast. I mean, look at the size of it. But
how very English.
I was just about to say how very British, an egg roll with tomato sauce. And it's been a long time, actually, since we've had anything like that.
Yeah, it has.
How nice. And very indulgent. Despite all the walking we're doing since we've been here and on this trip and all the weeks that are still left, there's no way we're not coming back from this without being 10 times bigger than when we left. It's just like there are treats everywhere, and we're probably indulging a little bit more than we normally would. And now here we are eating breakfast, a gigantic egg baguette roll. whilst also probably not even moving much today to work it off. So it's going well.
And you have eaten your body weight in potato salad.
Yeah, I've eaten my body weight in potato salad, as Stephen just said, because I keep buying it here. Every time I see a potato salad, I want to get it. Because they're slightly different to what you get back home, especially when they've got the gherkins in and stuff like that.
They're not slightly different, they're just nice.
They are much nicer. I mean, I'm still going for runs and things like that, but the exercises for both of us have sort of fallen by the wayside. So, yeah, it's kind of like we're relying on the walks and the runs I do. But I feel like it's been outmatched by the calories that are going in. But why, if German bakeries weren't so good and the potato salads, this wouldn't be happening. I mean, it's not my fault. It's not our fault at all. It's Germany's fault. Just blame Germany. And fast forward a few hours and we're eating again. Stephen's doing a bit of lunch. All looks very tasty. Now, I often eat tins of fish, like mackerel and sardines, things like that. But I have never seen this before. So this is cod liver in a tin. So presumably the actual cod liver itself in the oil. Maybe you do get that back in the UK. It might be in certain like specialist shops and things like that, or maybe in the really large supermarkets. But I've never really seen it alongside the usual tins of fish. Whereas in this supermarket, it was a Netto, in fact. It was just placed next to the mackerel and sardines as normal. So that's cod liver in a tin. We will let you know what that's like. Well, Stephen's just opened the tin and tried them, and he says it tastes like cat food. So we start off with a positive, glowing review, as always. And this is the lunch he's prepared. So we've got all sorts of things on there, like pickled carrot that we keep finding here, potato salad, herring in some kind of sauce, which I also keep buying, some salad, and on the top is the cod liver. I just tried it and I definitely see Stephen's point, but to me it does taste like liver of sorts. I quite like it, so that will be a different thing. I don't know if it's as good for you as cod liver oil capsules and the oil itself, but we'll give it a go. Not that we'll ever know whether it's good for us or not, but you know, hopefully it is. Are you enjoying our little free air, Steve?
Yeah, it's nice, peaceful. It's not exactly picturesque, but it's peaceful.
No, but we're lucky because we had a spot right at the end, so we've got a field next to us, sort of like a bit of privacy there, and you know, it's not scenic, but it's nice enough, and you can hear the main road. But it's free.
It's free, like free.
There's toilets.
Yeah.
There's water and electric. You do have to pay for them, but it's nothing, is it? You just put in €1 and it lasts for ages. Top it up as we need to.
Exactly.
Really handy. Short walk to the shops. Just bloody lovely, you know. You don't see this back in the UK. I know we've bleated on about this many times, but when you experience it in another country and you start to take it for granted, perhaps. Well, no, not really. We're not taking it for granted. We're grateful all the time. But when you go back to the UK, the harsh reality hits you, doesn't it, when it's not there at all?
I think the difference I feel with Germany in terms of their park-ups, really, is that a lot of them do have electric hook-up.
Yeah.
It's much more common here than I think was in France or
Definitely.
Spain or Portugal. So I don't know, somewhere you can come in the winter really, because you ain't got to worry about solar because there's power everywhere.
So in France, we did feel that there were far more airs in general, but here, although there seem to be fewer, as Stephen just said, most of them seem to have electric.
Yeah, even ones that just aren't really airs, they seem to have electric.
Yeah, so pretty good.
Oh.
I was about to say morning, but it's late afternoon now, isn't it?
It's nearly 3 o'clock.
Nearly 3 o'clock. We had a bit of a nightmare actually. I was trying to upload a video and the software completely failed. I updated it. For anyone just curious, I don't know how many people watch this that do other videos, but we use something called Cyberlink Power Director 365. And since I did the last update, the uploading thing that you do to make a video, once you've completed it, just would not work, and we couldn't figure it out. It said the graphic card in the laptop wasn't good enough, which it probably isn't, because it's a very old laptop, but it had worked up until that update, so we literally couldn't figure anything out. And then by sheer chance I looked at something, pressed it, didn't really know what it meant, and it worked. So for now, yeah, it works. Anyone else who ever uses that software, please let us know if you have these issues too, because that was an absolute trauma. We weren't sure how we were ever going to do it, because we spent all that time doing a video only to not be able to upload it or do anything with it to create it. But all done for now. So
Yeah.
we move on. We are going to go somewhere today, which we mentioned earlier or yesterday, which is called the Bastille Bridge. So we can have a bit of a late afternoon, early evening hike. Not too far, but hopefully we're going to see something that looks very, very impressive.
Aye.
And there might be some hills. Soz.
Aye.
Yeah. But at least the sun's out.
Right, come on then.
Let's go.
We'll see you there.
We'll see you there. So we've come to a region known as Saxony, Switzerland. Probably saying that wrong, but it's another national park here. It wasn't far from where we were parked when we last saw you on that air. But we're not going to have much time to explore this national park, which is such a shame because it looks gorgeous and there's loads of amazing rock formations and things here. And it's very late in the day now as well, so we're determined to at least see something here, which is probably the most famous site in this region, probably. So we're going on a bit of a late afternoon / early evening hike, and we're going to the Bastille Bridge. Clues in the name, as I've already said, but we'll tell you a bit more about it on the way there.
Aye.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Stephen's thrilled that there's hills involved,
Always.
but there's a promise of ice cream at the end. Hopefully it's not a false promise. There's a town somewhere along this walk, but it's late in the day, so whether we'll find anything like that, I don't know. But I think the route's quite touristy, so maybe there's a good chance. They really love their ice cream here, it feels like. Definitely more than...
It's one of the few things that are open on a Sunday.
Yeah. And like you go into like shopping centres and there's people sat there with like really kind of retro looking ice cream sundaes and banana splits and things like that. It's amazing.
Knickerbocker glory.
Yeah. It seems to be a real thing here, far more than back home. I think we should both get an ice cream today.
See what they got and how much it is first.
I mean, we had cake for breakfast, but who's counting?
Not me.
Me neither. So we walked into the little village of Rathen, I think it was called, something like that. Very touristy. We didn't even look anything up around the bridge. It was just like, that's the Bastille Bridge, we'll go to that. But this is like seriously made for tourists. But we saw an ice cream shop as promised, and we eventually found one that we wanted. Stephen's got like a Mr. Whippy of sorts.
Kind of obliterated it really already.
And I've been tempted as well. I've got this ice cream that I've been seeing everywhere in Germany, and I never see in the UK. So the top one is cinnamon flavoured. It tastes like Christmas in ice cream. It is absolutely perfect.
And because I'm a child,
What was it called?
apple.
Like an apple sauce on a Mr. Whippy, isn't it?
Kind of, isn't it? Tastes like chemicals.
Lovely. And underneath, can't quite see it, underneath the cinnamon is something called, you see it all the time here, they're really delicious, like chocolatey kind of things. Stracciatella, I know I'm saying that wrong, but I'll try to write it down there. And it tastes, well, it just tastes like sweet heaven, really. I don't know what the flavour is, but it seems like something that's popular and you see all the time here. I think you can buy them back in Lidl in the UK.
Yeah, you can.
It's like little kind of chocolate things. It is melting, so we better get on. Anyway, we're sat by the River Elbe, I think it's called. That's where the bridge runs, which we'll take you to in a minute. It is really pretty. You can see all the trees and forests rising up around, some amazing buildings. There's a boat that goes back and forth across the river, so you can go to the little town the other side. A really wide valley, just so it feels really vast. Such a shame we're not going to get much time to spend around here. Let's eat our ice creams and then we'll take you up to the Bastille Bridge.
Aye.
Nearly there, Steve.
Aye.
This is actually much more intense than I thought it was going to be. It's just suddenly steep and constant, isn't it?
Just having a bum break.
You're loving it so much.
Sweating. Do I look like I'm having fun?
Yeah, of course you do. That's what you always look like, even when you're having fun.
Oh,
Possible to tell the difference.
my unfun face.
Ah, what's the difference?
There isn't.
Ah.
I'll just tell you.
So this is close to the bridge. We're about 194 metres above the river, I think, the River Elbe. So not terrifying at all. Just a complete vertical drop right in front of us, which is always great. But amazing views.
Aye.
And it's nice and cool and peaceful up here as well.
And we're taking them up, there's other people here.
We are taking the room up, so let's just go. Well, we made it.
Just about.
Just about. That was a long way up. So this is the top of the Bastide Bridge. It's nearly 200 metres above the river and the valley. It's about 300 and something above sea level. But this bridge itself was initially constructed, I think, in the 1820s. A wooden bridge went across these rock formations. So the Bastide is a rock formation, all of these things that you're seeing around us.
Means boulder.
Means boulder, okay.
Apparently.
Facts coming in here. Always good. And then the bridge was replaced in the 1850s with the one that we're on now. It's made of sandstone. So the only reason it's there, I think, is just for tourist purposes. So people they can walk between the rock formations. So that's kind of it. There is a castle, or there was a castle, like a rock castle, but there's not much that remains of it, and it's closed now. But I think the main reason this actual bridge exists is just so people can wander across it.
Lovely.
Leisurely purposes.
Aye.
And we're back. There's our days. We know it's our days due to the off-colour door, in case we were unsure or anything.
Aye. Right, come on, let's get in.
We've got to go.
We've got a trip to make.
Evening.
Oh,
So we're back, we're sweating. What did you think of the Bastide Bridge, Stephen?
it's alright.
Oh, God.
I certainly wouldn't go through all the effort walking up there again to do that.
Well, I really loved it, but Stephen is right. That was an effort and a half. Like that, it was constantly uphill. I don't know if there's another way. There might be several routes to get to it. But yeah, there's lots of steps. So just bear that in mind. But I thought it was worth it. Not so much for the bridge itself, although that was really impressive and unusual, but more for the fact that you've got all that scenery around you, all these strange kind of pillars just kind of jutting up. Some with like trees on top, or some with like surrounded by trees at the bottom. Really amazing and really unusual scenery. And when you looked across the river, which was also incredible, like across the Elbe River, there was these fields with poppies in, I think they were poppies, and you could see little villages. One looked like it was kind of plonked on top of this plateau. Very strange. Yeah, definitely come here. I wish we could explore more of this region, but we just haven't got the time, unfortunately. One very quick thing, because it was very touristy. So this is a Wednesday, and it was like the end of the day. So by the time we've got back here now, it's just gone 7 o'clock in the evening, and there were still people everywhere. The bridge was full of people. So if you attempt this on a Saturday or something, especially in summer, I can imagine it's absolutely awful, can't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, because there was a lot of people trying to get pictures and things like that. Obviously, we were one of them as well. But like, it was, there's not that much space up there, yet there's a lot of people. So clearly it's very, very popular. But I'd still say come here, but just pick and choose your times. Maybe go first thing in the morning or in the evening like we did. Because even then you'll still find people. Yeah. And that's it, really.
Yeah, we need to go. We've got a little bit of light left, and we've got a bit of driving to do. So we need to finish up and get on the road.
And with that...
Yeah, is that the end of the video?
Yeah.
That's the end of the
That's
video.
the end of the video.
I am awake, really. Please like, subscribe, push your notification bell, share the video if you want. And we will see you on the next one.
Yep, thank you for watching. And the next time you see us, we are actually going to be in an entirely different country. We're not forgetting Germany. We are coming back in, but we're just nipping out to somewhere else for a little while. So we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.